everybody, this is Mythical Kaiju, and today I'm going to talk about some new Godzilla 2014 information. This time some new information about the sequel, of course, that Gareth spoke about in a video uploaded by Total Film, which I guess it was an interview, as well as the monster that will be possibly featured in the new Godzilla 2014 film. Sequel, I meant to say. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the interview with Gareth Edwards, or more like the cast, which is maybe around one cast member and the director. So yeah, this is uploaded by Total Film. It's called Godzilla Cast Chat Godzilla 2 / Sequel Ideas. And, kind of, I get this is a spoiler, video, because I might talk about some stuff that might be featured in the sequel. So yeah, I guess this video is titled, spoilers. So yeah, I'll just show you guys the video, and I'll just annotate you whenever there's some very important scenes or parts that you might have missed. Okay, so I'll leave the link to this interview in the description below. It's only 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Excuse me, 2 minutes and 19 seconds long, not too long. Anyways, here we go. Total Film, the modern guide to movies.
If it's anything like my first experience, I would love to do it again. I also
sorry about that.
I think the world that we've established in this first film is because instead of it just being Godzilla, because we introduce other monsters, I think we have created a world where monsters exist, and so we have opened up that box, and now I think anything can come out of it, and so I would like it to be another monster. I think and also it might be fun if then everyone got involved to try and find him and destroy him, but then he was a hero, and you have that story too, because you do care about Godzilla in this movie. He does kind of feel like the protector of Earth, but I don't know what they would do, but I would be curious to see what they could do, because we have established a world where we have this odd new anti-hero.
Okay, so that's Elizabeth Olsen's thoughts. Now, finally, Gareth Edwards. Yeah, it sure is the whole entire cast. I wonder where Bryan Cranston, Julia Binoche, Sally Hawkins, Ken Watanabe, and Angela Johnson are at. Let's continue with Gareth Edwards' thoughts on what he would do for the sequel. Yes, this is more important than what Elizabeth Olsen says, because she's the director. Anyway, let's see what he's got to say.
Yeah, obviously, you can't help it, but you sort of block it out, you pretend it doesn't exist. And we actually had a meal when we were doing all this publicity, sat down with the producer of the movie, Thomas, and we were talking about all sorts of things, and then suddenly the sequel came up, and we both went, you know what, let's not jinx it. Let's just let the film come out, we'll see what people make of it, we'll see how it does. And all being good, we'll have a meeting on May 17th, the day after, and see if there's an appetite for a sequel. This was an origin story, and the idea was
Okay, here we go. This is some important news right here, so really pay attention in this part, or just check the link in the description below.
I haven't seen a Godzilla movie. It's very standalone. It's when it ends. That's it. But I find two areas of time in some
interesting right here.
Something fantastic like this fascinating. The first is the day the world changes, like the day the world learns about these creatures, which is what happens in our movie. But equally interesting is
right here. Pay very close attention.
When the world has come to terms with it and it's become kind of normal, and I find that period of time just as interesting. So I guess don't want to say it jinx anything, but I think there's a lot of fun to be had if people like the movie enough that we did another.
There we go. There we go. Interesting, wasn't it? Link in the description below where you can check this video out. Now that tells us immediately that, okay, this film's approach was, as he mentioned, the day humankind knew about these creatures. Now, this movie had an organization that was secretive about the creatures, which was specifically the Monarch organization, which kept these creatures a secret. Mostly the Mutos. Godzilla was, I don't know exactly. I think they were kind of keeping him a secret, but more the Mutos, of course. But it looks like, that secret is out now. And what he said is that, that's what they did on this movie. But I guess what he's technically saying is that for the sequel, it could route he can go through is, the day or just the times when humankind already is used to this phenomenon. They're already used to kaiju living in their world and maybe even destroying their cities. That is an interesting, sequel idea, and that's just interesting, very interesting. That could tell us that whenever he told this monster, kind of like a Monster Island like thing, he really meant it. So probably maybe humankind created this one island, just like Godzilla, just like destroying monsters, where they put all these monsters in one specific island for peace can be between them. That's what he's mentioning. He is mentioning that humankind is already used to these kaiju. So that could possibly mean that there is a monster island, and there's some kaiju who live in it and all this stuff. And, or if not, or that there's going to be plenty of monsters in this film. Plenty of monsters, because they're already used to it. Now, I know 3 sounds enough, but they all thought at the same time. That whenever he said it, it's kind of like he said it like if there was other monster attacks apart from this one of this film. Muto and Muto combating or fighting against Godzilla. There was more fights than that. So that could mean that there's a bunch of fights or a bunch of monsters in this film, which would be very, very epic. But I don't know if that will take off the realism about it or anything of that sort. And this video was actually uploaded, let me just check. It was uploaded on May 9th, and it's already May, 20th. Wow. This is very late information. But, this is a time whenever they didn't knew about the sequel. Now that the sequel's already confirmed, it's already green light, in other words, then, this is more of a possibility, showing this information, because that's what he thought before they even, knew that this movie is going to be a giant success, and they even announced a sequel. But, wow, okay, so possibly more kaiju fights, and, maybe less teasing, and more monster fights as well, and more monsters. Very interesting. Next thing. Now, I recently purchased the Art of Destruction book, I don't know how many days ago. I think I got it on May 16th, or I guess 4 days ago, the day the movie was officially released. And, I scrolled through the page, and then I found this, I can't really explain it, but there was this picture of, the Muto evolution. That's how the page was called. It's like a black page with, concept art of how the mutants are going to look like. And right here, I was planning to take a screenshot of this, but, I didn't know exactly, the screenshot and all that stuff. But, I tried to search it up, on the internet, and I actually found a picture. I guess the picture is in French, so, probably I'll try and read it, sometime later. What it actually says. So, possibly I can maybe tell you guys what it actually says. Okay, so I brought the book, and since that's in French, I'll just translate you what it says. Okay, so this is what it translates as. It says, these early mutant designs, in parentheses, felt like the skeletal part of a shark or something, but on the outside of the creature, so it has this kind of skeletal fish effect. It's funny because if we ever did another film, I'll go through this book and use these as branching off points for other creatures. It's a shame because there's some nice ideas that inevitably fall by the wayside. GE, which stands for Gareth Edwards, of course. Yes, that's what it translates to. That's interesting. So this could possibly be as it mentions here, a branching off point. So possibly they can add a little something to this and be added with another body, or if not, this could be the other kaiju that probably might appear in the new film if, you know, they have to make their own creations, or, you know, if they just went all out, you know, they create their own monster and all that. So yeah, you know, very interesting. It's like the skeleton-like creature. It's very, very interesting. I really cannot. It does actually look like it says here, a skeletal fish effect, because there is some fish that are kind of translucent. You can actually see their bones. So I don't know if that's gonna be one of its little like abilities, I guess you can say, that you can see his bones and all this. But this was very interesting. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, and yeah, very interesting. Now there is some other pictures. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more pictures other from this one. But I think this one is the most interesting out of all of them. So yeah, if you have the Godzilla Art of Destruction book, then, you know, I really recommend it. It has some concept art, very nice. You know, Godzilla's, you know, design and what they were thinking of doing for design, which some of them are actually very bad, and some of them use the designs. And, you know, if you have this Art of Destruction book, then, and you see the sequel, maybe there's a creature that looks similar to that, you know that you saw it before anybody else because you saw this book. That's actually a very interesting and awesome experience. But yeah, that's a very interesting creature. Not sure how big that creature will be, or maybe the powers or abilities it can have. But yeah, this is the end for this video. You know, I guess there's no exact link for the picture, of course. But I guess you guys are looking at it right now, so there's no point in literally giving you a link. But definitely a link for the interview with Gareth Edwards and Elizabeth Olsen about Godzilla 2 sequel ideas. But yeah, you know, overall, interesting stuff. You know, I really cannot wait for the sequel. Let's see, we have to wait another, you know, 500 days, or I don't know how many years for this new sequel. Which hopefully it is shorter time range than the Godzilla 2014 film. But anyways, and for this video, subscribe, like, and comment. This is Mother Kaiju signing out.